Okay, as promised, here I am providing some new content, my first video. Never had I expected to do this, but I believe that the time is now to be able to provide a bit more of a personal set of perspectives on what have been increasingly more and more opinions coming out in both the legacy and social media platforms when it comes to, air quotes, China. Now again, these are opinions. It's not that what people are suggesting, whether it's China becoming the next large economy, conquering the world, and or the big bad axis of evil, if you will. It's not to say these opinions are wrong. They are, again, opinions after all. What I find is that the opinions themselves are woefully incomplete. Now, what I mean by incomplete is that what we are looking at here are elements that, and I don't mean to be overly simplistic here, where you're having a square peg in a round hole when it comes to the development of these various opinions. They seem to be predominantly manufactured around the basis of how the world has operated over the course of the last 50 or 60 years. China and the reemergence, right, of China is a relatively new phenomenon. Quite frankly, in all the time that I have been here, over 25 years now, nobody cared about China. And now, again, over the past year, it has become very much a focal point. But in terms of what exactly does China mean and how it actually impacts not just the individual, but talking about businesses, which I'm dealing with in a specific industry, but also at the geopolitical level, I think are extremely important and important to the level that I'm providing this video. Now, I don't want to go on for hours and hours discussing this. What I want to do today is highlight a need to return to what euphemistically now is talked about, which are first principles. And the first principles with regard to looking at the China market is an understanding of cultural divide. And I know that again sounds overly simplistic. People talk about difference in cultures all the time, especially when it comes to the Chinese market. What my intention to do here, though, is to provide what I hope to be a single point of differential for people to consider as they begin to incorporate these differentials into how they go about approaching China. And specifically what I would refer to is Judeo-Christian ethos. Sounds very esoteric, something along the lines of ethics, but not really. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that for the past 500 or 600 years, if you look throughout the Western economies and the Western nation states, whether it's been contract law, whether it's been diplomacy, interactions, what have you, all of those interactions have been predominantly driven and based upon, at a foundation level, by Judeo-Christian ethos. To say that China doesn't operate along those terms, I think would be a gross understatement, and I believe that many of you would recognize that as being a point of fact. At the same time, though, we also, I believe, have to recognize, and this is we, I think everybody, that ignoring China or saying that China is not going to emerge in the way that it has been over the last decade is just ignoring the truth. The issue is how to go about recognizing where various institutions are, recognizing where China is coming, and looking at where the cross intersection might be. And again, that's where I would come back to this cultural differential that has existed. I've seen it on too many occasions when dealing with clients that are looking to come into the China market. Their approach is always about, this is how we do things globally, ergo, this is how we should do things within China. That simply will not do. Now, what I'm hoping to do is provide a lot more context over the weeks and months ahead on this specific subject. For now, however, what I want to just leave you with is to try and reframe as best you can this idea of where the global community has been operating, again, predominantly by Judeo-Christian ethos, and where that may, or more importantly, may not reside with regard to China. Have a think. I hope you appreciated this, and I look forward to providing additional content in the weeks ahead. Thank you.